Sarah, it is so good to see you. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
So let's jump right into it.
Mhm.
Would you please introduce yourself, your organization, and why you care about sustainability?
Very excited to be here. My name is Sara Neff. I am the head of sustainability for Lendlease Americas. Lendlease is a global real estate company with Australian heritage. And in the US, we do construction, investment management, development, and we manage a lot of military housing and build their hotels. We have the goal of being absolute zero carbon across every scope by 2040. So I care about sustainability because it's my job to help the company get to those goals.
Thank you. So two quick comments. One is Lendlease is a huge company.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening in, Sarah also has been instrumental to help promote training for janitors. So thank you very much, which
Sure.
is near and dear to all of our hearts. So thank you.
Absolutely.
From a reporting perspective, what frameworks do you think are important, especially for those in the supply chain, like members of the cleaning industry, but whose customers are asking for sustainability data?
Absolutely. So in America, we use a number of reporting frameworks. GRESB is still the primary. So those of us who are publicly traded real estate companies and some private ones as well use GRESB to benchmark our performance on sustainability. GRESB itself then uses LEED in addition to many other potential certifications for getting points, Fitwel being one. And so we show excellence in GRESB via having great coverage on certifications in those frameworks. Those frameworks are asking about green cleaning. So we need that information from our suppliers to get those certifications, which we then report to GRESB to show to our investors.
Thank you. And I know you've been working on this issue for a long time.
Yeah,
You started when you were like 7 or something, so thank you.
something like that.
But, it's certainly accelerated over the last few years. And with Lendlease being a global organization, as is ISSA's membership, would you share a few thoughts about what trends you're seeing relative to sustainability reporting?
Absolutely. I see two major trends. One is there's just more reporting, a lot more reporting, especially for my European counterparts. We see a lot in Australia. I mentioned Lendlease is an Australian company. Now, publicly traded companies in Australia are aligning with ISSB, the International Sustainability Standards Board. And so we're seeing a proliferation of reporting frameworks we're having to deal with. The other thing I'm seeing as a trend is scope three. So we now aren't just reporting on our own emissions and what's happening within our own operations. We're now having to report on our supply chain, which means we're needing data from our supply chain. We're needing to do inventories of what our scope three carbon emissions are. And so that's making it really important that we're able to get great data in the form of environmental product declarations and health product declarations from our suppliers to be able to meet those new requirements. For example, in California, now we're going to have to start disclosing scope three information as early as fiscal year 2027, which is right around the corner. And so we're all kind of scrambling to figure out how to work with our suppliers, in what form they should be giving us this data so that we are able to report it at a corporate level.
And you work with lots of different types of organizations, right? Lendlease has a huge footprint, and the work that you've done in other places where you're engaged.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for companies that are just getting started on their sustainability journey?
Absolutely. I would say the first piece of advice is to start asking questions. So it's really starting to talk to your suppliers and see what, for example, they need in terms of collaboration to be able to make data happen, not just doing it in the dark. I'll give an example in the world of carbon, where what the low carbon materials companies tell us is they want performance-based specifications. So they want to say, okay, I'm not going to tell you what percentage of Portland cement to replace. Just tell me what you need and tell me you want the best environmental performance at whatever cost, and I will give that to you. So those dialogues need to be happening. It's not a one-way street where we make up the request and then we expect our suppliers to deal with it. We've learned that we need to have that conversation. So that would be the major piece of advice is don't make it up. The other piece of advice is to collaborate across your side of the industry. We're just getting started on talking to each other about scope 3 emissions. We're getting better at materials health, but sharing best practices. None of these wheels should be reinvented. All we need is really to scale what we already know how to do.
Thank you. And from the cleaning industry's perspective, we're really trying hard to figure out what we can do to support people like yourself.
Yeah.
Because obviously we should be experts in what we do and what is material to our industry. So I assume part of it has to be getting educated, right? So we understand what these issues really are.
Absolutely. It's a number of things. I think getting educated couldn't be more important. Steve and I had the pleasure of working for a long time on the Green Janitor Training Program because the janitors need to be educated. The janitors are the eyes and the ears of any building. And so we are increasingly under scrutiny as to the energy consumption of a building, the water consumption of the building, how much waste diversion there is. Without deep collaboration with the cleaning team, you're not going to see the results that you could. And so, but they need to be empowered to know that they need to say, I've noticed that this light is always on when all the rest are off at night. There's something wrong with the occupancy sensor. I see a leak and it's not affecting what I'm cleaning, but it's something I'm noticing. We need that. Otherwise, buildings are not going to be operating where they need to be. So that education is really, really important. We need to know how to ask for that. The Green Janitor Education Program isn't available in many places. And so that knowledge is stuck in only the jurisdictions where the local US Green Building Council chapter has worked out a deal with the union to be able to provide the education. We need a wholesale market change. And that's something that buyers need to collaborate with each other on to help make happen.
Well, and of course, ISSA is hoping to help fill that gap as well. So last question then. Any additional thoughts that you have? You've done this a lot, lots of different places. Anything else that I haven't really asked that you'd like to share?
Absolutely. It takes all of us. So one of the things that I have learned over the course of my career is that there's no way to do sustainability just one person sitting in front of a computer. It has to be everybody. It has to be industry organizations like ISSA. It has to be experts like you. It has to be operators like me. It has to be the janitors. It has to be the company that hires the janitors. It has to be the property managers, the maintenance staff. Without all of those folks working together, we don't get the sustainability results that we need. And also anything related to the circular economy. Steve, one of the things I've really learned is it's a big circle. When we're talking about janitors helping us recycle more so we can use those materials, that is fantastic. But that is one piece of the chain to actually have, the use of less materials in the world. So we need everybody. I hope everybody listening to this wants to join. Everybody has a role to play. Sustainability isn't something just done by somebody else. We saw great results in our buildings when we engaged our janitors. It was about memory serves, about a 1% reduction in energy consumption, about a 6% reduction in water consumption for very, very little monetary investment, an investment of time and of coordination and love. But and what we found is we had even more engaged janitors, and it was great results all around. I don't want those wins to just be stuck at one company, right? I want those wins to be with everybody, but it's going to take all of us together to make that happen.
Sara, you're awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Have a great day, and you are appreciated.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to be able to talk with you.